Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the JTDL Draft League. I am your coach of the Orucs-Oraihc, and it is time for the Week 7 Team Builder. We are finally getting done. This is the last week of the regular season. I have already clinched the playoffs. I clinched it, I think week 5 with that win, because at that point, mathematically, I had such a large lead that it was not happening that anybody was coming back. Uh, I've just gone undefeated so far this season. I've only dropped one game, and that was last week. If you haven't watched last week, definitely go watch it. Only reason I lost that one game, I went over everything afterwards, and I'm pretty sure the only reason I ended up losing is because I missed a rock slide there. So I am absolutely 100% fine with that. Because I just won't miss a rock slide next time. It was single target too, and I only had to hit one mon. So, yeah. That being said, it is time to actually get started. This week, our final opponent is Kynsareth. Uh, Absolutely been a pleasure watching what they do. Uh, they've got what doesn't look on paper to be the strongest draft, but still certainly very formidable. And it really does wonders into my team, actually, specifically my Sneasel. So let's just get started taking a look at our opponent's draft. Here we go. We've got our week 7 opponent right here, and let's take a look at those mons. We start out with Duskull. Duskull is one of the only S tiers drafted that was allowed to hold the Eviolite. Uh, and that's because its base stat total just isn't the greatest, but it has such good bulk that it should be fine for it. Naturally, Frisk is a great ability. It can also be Levitate if it's worried about Golet for whatever reason. But Frisk is generally going to be the better, especially in a best of 3 matchup. Uh, Nightshade Protect, Will-O-Wisp, Trick Room. This is just like a standard Dusclops set that I've slapped on this thing. I'm expecting max HP, max Fizz Def because I have Sneasel and I have Golett, and that's the two things that hit this for super effective damage. Uh, Pretty much on my entire team. Like I could be running Dark Pulse, Helioptile, but like, am I really that likely to run it? I am. Like I considered it this week, but eh, I mean, who cares about that? Again, this thing probably just wants to be a Trick Room setter and start Will-O-Wisping some things. It's got a good low base speed tier 25. Uh, Speed tiers were really important this week, and I will get to that right at the end of taking a look at Kynsareth's team. Next up, we have Timber. This is we've got Trick Room Setter, Trick Room Sweeper. We're about to get to Trick. These two are both Trick Room Sweepers. It has. This is basically just a standard Conkeldurr set. It runs Life Orb Iron Fist. It could be as well going for like Flame Orb Guts, or even just something with Sheer Force. But I think like either Sheer Force Life Orb or Sheer Force Iron Fist are most likely. Uh, Life Orb Mach Punch with Iron Fist is guaranteed to one hit KO a Sneasel with a moderate amount of bulk. Uh, if I Dynamax it. So yeah, that's the power of a Stab Life Orb Iron Fist Mach Punch. Uh, and this is one of the reasons Sneasel is not going to be as great this week as it would otherwise be. Yeah, we've got this is just a standard Conkeldurr set. Like it can run Drain Punch in this last move. I've seen it run like Ice Punch, Thunder Punch over this Rock Slide, but Rock Slide is just a really good move, so I like to put it on sets when Mons have it and can use it. Decent base speed, 35 for Trick Room. The real the real thing in Trick Room is going to be Laleep. Laleep is a threat. Power Meteor Beam is a set that I have seen on Cradilly, uh, on the rare occasion that I have seen people discussing Cradilly. Like, this thing can run that, and that is just terrifying getting to +1. It already has a fine special attack at 61 base, more than a lot of mons have. It also has phenomenal bulk for Little Cup, 66, 77, 87. That is phenomenal. And the low speed tier is great. Base 23, Trick Room, Sweeper. It is. I only have one mon on my team that's slower than this, and it is Solosis. So, and Solosis doesn't exactly match up the greatest into Dusclops and really the rest of this team in general. So, uh, even Laleep, it just goes down to a hit from because Solosis doesn't have bulk. What can I say? This thing has bulk and a decent special attack, and you don't need a 105 special attack if you're going to be tanking as many hits as Laleep will, undoubtedly. Storm Drain is an ability. Suction Cups is far less likely. I think Storm Drain is really the way to go because I have a water type on my team. Uh, Meteor Beam, Ancient Power, Energy Ball, Earth Power. It can also run something like Sludge Bomb. It can run Solar Beam if it's expecting my sun. It can run weird stuff like Brine, Mirror Code if it wants to be really crazy. Yeah, that's about it. Uh, could be Giga Drain over Energy Ball, especially if it's getting to +1 automatically. Might be a choice for it, but all in all, Laleep is a threat, and I need to be able to deal with it. Uh, so moving on, we have Staryu. Staryu going to be uh, a very fast mon. It could be a fast sweeper on my opponent's team. Natural Cure is its only good ability really for this week. Uh, it's not going to be going last almost ever with a base 85 speed tier. Uh, the only way it goes last is if like Meowth is on the field and I double switch, which is not a very, or I use like two priority moves, and so Staryu isn't going to be moving last. Natural Cure is really the only thing because Illuminate does literally nothing. Gets a lot of good strong moves. Uh, it can run Blizzard over Ice Beam even if it's feeling crazy. Power Gem over any of these moves except probably Hydro Pump. It's gotta run or Scald, one of the two. It can run Thunder or Thunderbolt. It just gets a lot of good moves. It gets a great move pool, and so it worries me. Moving on, we have a Lowland Meowth. A Lowland Meowth is probably going to be Sash just based on its stats alone. 40, 35, 40 is not what you consider bulky. Technician is probably its best ability, although it could be Rattled or Pickup. I don't think it'll be either, but you never know. So, anyways, next we have it gets Fake Out, Icy Wind, Dark Pulse, Parting Shot, I guess, is probably its set. It has a lot of moves. It gets Faint, if I recall correctly, which is a good move. Yeah, it gets Faint, so yeah, that's a very good move against my team. Uh, all in all, this thing is just a menace. There's nothing else for me to say. Moving on, Larvesta. This thing, I'm expecting Choice Scarf. I am 100% expecting Choice Scarf because Choice Scarf Larvesta at max speed, uh, it's not at max speed Adamant, it's at max speed Jolly that it guaranteed. Yeah, it is guaranteed to outspeed uh, my Sneasel if it's at +1 Jolly or Choice Scarf Jolly. Flame Body is definitely the ability for this week. I had a lot of contact moves on my team. I have a lot of mons that want to use those moves, just generally speaking. It gets a good physical move pool, and it's definitely a physical attacker if you look at its stats, as opposed to Volcarona. Larvesta is a physical attacker that has a lot of attacks like Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Double Edge. Uh, I guess Acrobatics is a move that it can use for an Airstream, which is why I put it on here. Leech Life is probably its best bug type move. Probably don't want to be running U-Turn because you want to keep it in. It can run Zen Headbutt. It can run a couple of different coverage moves, I guess. Uh, if you want to be really crazy, Skitter Smack. Overall, if it's got speed control, say it's a Choice Scarf, or we've got Icy Wind Meowth getting things to -1. This thing is a threat, and it can easily roll over my team. So I have to be on the lookout for that. Choice Scarf Larvesta. If it's in the lead, I'm expecting Choice Scarf. If it's in the lead without Meowth, any game. Because it can just straight up one-hit KO Sneasel with Flare Blitz if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's either Flare Blitz or Leech Life, I think. If it's I think Flare Blitz KOs. I don't remember if I've run the calc and forgotten, or if I've simply just not run the calc because I think it's trivial at this attack versus Sneasel's defenses, but either way, that's not even the next big threat to Sneasel, which is Mach Punch Magby. Expert Belt or Karate Belt are the two items that allow it to get a guaranteed Mach Punch one-hit KO on Sneasel if I'm running moderate bulk. So I'm expecting one of those. It also gets great coverage, so the Expert Belt is a really nice item for it just in general. It could also be Life Orb, but a couple of other things on this team might want to hold the Life Orb. Mach Punch, Flare Blitz, Thunder Punch. It gets a bunch of other coverage, but it can probably run Protect because Sneasel wants to fake out turn 1. Uh, yeah. Adamant uh, max speed still outspeeds my base 70s because it's a base 83. This is something I learned when I tried to run Magby or when I tried to build Magby in Little Cup VGC outside of this draft for a tournament. Uh, and that's a really nice speed tier for Magby. It's definitely something I will pick up sooner when I get the chance if there's another league like this. Uh, Definitely near the top of my list. Up next, we have Litwick. I'm expecting Colberberry or even Focus Sash, really. It's a Trick Room setter. It's not as good of a Trick Room setter, but it's also the Fire type, which helps it a bit, as opposed to Duskull, because it can do other stuff. It gets Flame Body. It can even run uh, Will-O-Wisp. So Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Protect, Trick Room. It gets a good special attack stat, 65, not bad by any stretch of the imagination. And it's base 20, so it's my opponent's slowest mon. This is the main reason I'm not bringing Solosis this week, which we'll get to in a second in the other reasons, but uh, Litwick is definitely near the top of those reasons. So that's something to remember. Uh, so up next we have gosh darn it, what is up next? Yeah, I'm just expecting Litwick to be a Trick Room Sweeper or a Trick Room Setter with a Focus Hash. Uh, Up next we have Eevee. Gmax Eevee is one of the things that I have built this team in game completely subject to. My team has two starters on it. My draft, rather. I have both Bulbasaur and Sneasel. The rest of my mons I think are all 50-50, but between except for Golet, which is genderless naturally. Uh, I think the rest of my mons are 50-50 gender, but I couldn't tell you that for certain. Uh, Either way, uh, Gmax Eevee is going to want to be able to attract my Bulbasaur if it wants to sweep, or my Sobble if it somehow manages to get ready to sweep. And so I'm expecting a female Gmax Eevee to try to like be a stopgap measure against that. And so I've made my entire team either female or genderless this week. It's absolutely great doing that in game, by the way. Uh, it doesn't take too much time at all. Yeah. I'm expecting just max speed, max attack, adamant. It makes the most sense, really, if I'm thinking about it. So that is Eevee. Adaptability naturally is uh, the best thing it can run ability wise. Its stats aren't great, base 55 attack, but with adaptability, the stab double edge does a lot of damage, and especially in maxes, Gmax attract does a lot of damage psychologically as well. So that's that. And if my opponent calls me prepping for Emax Eevee being female and makes it a male Gmax Eevee, good on my opponent. Because I am completely willing to lose that mind game because I don't expect the mind game to be happening. Swablu, I've put a Yachi Berry on it. It doesn't really matter. Cotton Guard, Roost Pair, Song, Tailwind. This is a Tailwind setter. It's a defensive mon. It's a Perish Song user. There's not much to say about Swablu. It cannot beat Sneasel in any feasible way. Even if it could, it also loses to half of the rest of my team. Just because its HP is low. It's got decent defenses. It can even, like, honestly, it's probably best off holding the Eviolite on this team. If Duskull is running some other item, it probably could do well with an Eviolite, but Cloud9 for certain because Natural Cure doesn't help as much against my team, and Cloud9 can stop my Bulbasaur from sweeping in the sun because it disables the sun essentially. So Feebas is certainly a Pokemon that my opponent chose as a mascot. Needless to say, Kynsareth was near the bottom of the mascot picks. And as much as we all love Feebas, it's not coming this week. Just trust me, please. Like, I've given it a set and everything. It does get moves. It does have some stats. It has like two of them. But like, what is it even doing? Like, it can't beat any mon on my team. I think it loses to all 11 of my mons, including my mascot, including, like, literally everything on my team. I think this loses to. So, I just don't see Feebas coming at all. It's not happening. Uh, Now, Feebas, being the last mon on my opponent's team that I needed to show, it's time for me to go to the notepad. And the notepad is going to be interesting today because I have a lot of extra stuff on here that I did not have in previous times I've showed it off. So let's show you right there. Haha. Let's kind of move you better in frame. There we go. Okay, so this is my speed tiers. Notepad, again, I'm using Notepad++, which is the best notepad that I have ever found. A friend of mine was using it on a stream, or at least I consider him a friend. He might not consider me a friend. I show up to his streams, so I consider us friends. That aside, Notepad++ is great. I'm not sponsored by Notepad++, but if you want to be able to keep track of things, it's a godsend because it's got even spacing, and it's also just easy to use. Uh, like I can just mark a line like this. It's got really handy features. It's got like autofill if I type in SNE, like see, I can just click any of these mods. It's so nice. Anyways, unpaid advert aside, uh, uh, we've got, and it's completely free as well, by the way. Like in case you were wondering, this is a completely free program to use. It's one of my favorite reasons that for using it, to be completely honest. Anyways, this is all my opponent's base speeds. This, of course, is mine. I've shown this off before. This tool that I use. I sort everything this way, and I take a look at the bottom and the top. My opponent's bottom mons are looking very similar to my bottom mons. If you look 20, 23, 25, 35, we see 20, 23, 23, 25, 35. So if we're seeing a lot of min speed mons, we're going to see a lot of speed ties as well. And that's something to look out for. Uh, on the top half, or even like in the middle, I've got 40 and 45 that my opponent has nothing in between. And then as far as the top part, my opponent has 60, 80, 83, 85, 90. I've got 60s, 70, 62, 70s, and then of course I have the Sneasel. But between my 70s and my 115, my opponent has 4 mons. And that's more than most people have had. Feebas, of course, if we eliminate it, that's still 3 mons. And all of them are threats. Again, all 3 of these, just because they hit 83 and above, are also hitting outspeeding a plus speed Sobble or a plus speed Helioptile, which are my base 70s, if they're not a speed boosting nature. So, for example, Staryu can run Modest, Magby can run Adamant. Meowth can also run Modest. So, we've got some countermeasures to try to figure out how we're going to deal with the speed tiers. And I've got a whole list of speed tiers right here. Here, starting at the bottom, we've got these 3. These are the 3 big Trick Room speed tiers. This is going to be naturally in order 20, 23, 25. At min speed minus speed nature. I don't know what else there is to say about that. I don't think anything. That's naturally a speed tie if I use these at their natural speeds. But if I use one of them below its natural speed, anything is on the table. And naturally, the same thing goes if my opponent decides to run Iron Ball Timber with Fling. That's a set. I think that Timber gets Fling. Don't quote me on that because I will be checking afterwards. Outside of Trick Room, these are the speed tiers that don't involve priority. I've also got the 3 priority attacks, Mach Punch, Feint, and Fake Out here. There's not too much I can do around these, except Hope and Pray. So, Fake Out, of course, is going to be from the Meowth, but I can outspeed that with my own Fake Out. Feint from the Meowth is going to be at +2 priority, and there's not really much I can do about that. I have Quick Guard, but Feint breaks protects, so it doesn't exactly help if my opponent has Feint and I use Quick Guard. And then, of course, Mach Punch is the big whammy here. My opponent has 2 Mach Punch ones that can Oko Sneasel. One of them, if Sneasel maxes even, it just Okos with priority. This is something that I like doing with Sneasel, not having done to Sneasel. So that's all. That's my say on that. After that, we have all of these middle speed tiers. what are all these? 225 is a +1 or scarf. I want to say it was the Staryu, although yes, it's a +1 or scarf, timid Staryu. So timid Staryu with a scarf hits 225. Modest hits 205 with a scarf or at +1. After that, we have 184. This is our +1 base 60. 184 is always a big number for me to think about because Sneasel's max speed is 183 stat at max speed Jolly. And so if I have an opponent with a speed tier of exactly 184 with a +1 mon, it just means that they have a base 60 mon, which almost every team has. So yeah, that's all I can do. That said, we move on. After 184, we have 156. This is the next important thing for me to outspeed. I think that 156 was a Magby speed. It might have been a Staryu speed. No, it can't have been either of them. What was 156 speed? Was 156 a Meowth speed? Yeah, that's max speed timid Meowth. Okay, so max speed timid Meowth hits 156 stat. That's a speed that it can go for an icy wind. If anything I have is moving after that, it's immediately slowed down to like the 100s or lower. So that's a big one. 150 naturally is going to be that Staryu modest. And of course, or the timid Staryu, the modest Staryu is 137. 123, this is the last big one. I think this is Eevee. If it's max speed, no, this isn't Eevee. What's 123? Is it, goodness me, what is 123? Is it just Larvesta max speed? I want to say 123 is Larvesta max speed then. Yeah. 123 is Larvesta's max speed. If I can scroll it onto this thin sliver of the screen that you can see, should be there. Yeah. So Larvesta's max speed is 123 without a choice scarf. That's another big one. After that, we have 117, which is Eevee. And then we have 112 is Adamant Larvesta, 107 Adamant Eevee. And that is the speed tiers. And like everything in my head, I was looking at one of these numbers when I was making my decisions with the speeds at which to run my Pokemon. And of course, I was also looking at these three moves. So, with all the technical stuff out of the way, it's time to get to my actual team that I am using this week. And it is a very fun one. Of course, I've already clinched the playoffs. I've said that I'd clinched them last week. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up trying to win every single game that I play this season. So here, I'm going to change this to level 50. And let's take a look at the team. That was for just calculating stats, by the way. Sneasel is going to be holding the Life Orb this week. The reason why? Life Orb Throat Chop. Because Life Orb Throat Chop, I think it was either Life Orb Throat Chop or Life Orb Max Darkness. One-hit KOs Dusclops. Or Duskull, rather. Even if it's holding Eviolite. So that's a big one. Life Orb also helps damage with Triple Axle. I need the life orb for the throat chop KO, by the way. Just a +2 or a 1.2 times boost won't help enough. And a 1.5 times from choice band, I'm not willing to give up that much for locking myself into a move is not ideal in this matchup because there are so many counters to Sneasel. I want protect. I also want fake out. Again, this is just like priority rules +3 +5. Or is it protect +4? I don't ever remember. I think it's +4 +3, and then naturally its actual speed stat, which is 157. Remember that number 156 from the Meowth. I want to outspeed the Meowth regardless of what ability or Fig Kite nature it is. Fig Kite is still ability. Whatever. Also, it's female because all of my mons this week are female, if you look at the gender, except for Golett, which is genderless naturally. Every single mon I have is female, including my 2 starters. I went through everything to get female starters for this week. It actually wasn't that bad, but it did take a bit of extra time that I really would have liked to have back, to be completely honest. Triple Axle is naturally good against everything because it's stab. Throat Chop is good against the 3 ghosts on this team. And like the fire types that Sneasel isn't otherwise hitting. Next up we have Fletchling. Fletchling is going to be holding the focus sash. It usually does. I'm going to give it the Gale Wings ability in the Teambuilder because it has that in the game. Quick Guard, Tailwind, Dual Wing Beat, Sunny Day. We're running Sunny Day again. Because we need Manual Sun, and we don't have room for it on Sneasel, because we need Protect. Normally I would run Sunny Day on Sneasel, but I don't have room for Sunny Day on Sneasel, because I have to run Protect for the Mach Punch. Because my opponent has double Mach Punch. Gotta love it. So that's why we're running our Manual Sun on Fletchling this week. Dual Wing Beat is just a stab move. Quick Guard is good for the Mach Punches again. I'm expecting a lead of Sneasel Fletchling at least a couple times. If I have to go to a third game, I might even still do it. After that, we have Golett, which is holding the room service this week, and this is the big one. Remember that numbers that I had? It was 22, 25, 27 for Trick Room. Golett is base 35, so it has 36 stat. But with room service, it goes to -1, which is times 2/3, which is 24, baby. Room service, this Golett is just barely underspeeding the opposing Lily. I was originally Iron Ball on this Pokemon, but then I realized exactly that room service was just enough to get it under the Laleep, which was the big deal for Golett. Like, naturally, it's not the only deal, because I have to contend with the Will-O-Wisps and the Nightshades from the opposing Duskull, but still something to think about. I've gotten No Guard this week with Dynamic Punch because I need it for Lilleep. Lilleep is a threat, and I want to be able to take it out if I can before it's attacking, and if I can't take it out because, say, it Dynamaxes, I want to at least confuse it to give it less of a chance of attacking. And naturally, all that said, Dynamic Punch is a strong move. Base 100 move. It's powerful. I considered Focus Blast, I'm not going to lie. I actually considered it. I could also have run Hammer Arm, which would have been nice, but Dynamic Punch has just got such a good secondary effect that I can't give it up. If you look at our HP stat on Golett, you'll notice that we hit exactly 151, we take 4 Nightshades to be KO'd. And in the meantime, we're probably KOing with Poltergeist. So we should win that 1v1. Spritzy holding the Eviolite as it usually does when it comes. We're running our Nasty Plot this week. Round is not the move I had in the team builder, my friends. That is not the move that I had. I had Psychic here. Trick Room, Nasty Plot, Psychic, Moonblast. Psychic might be Flash Cannon the day of. I've already changed it from Flash Cannon to Psychic once. It might change back because Credilli is a threat. The problem is that +2 Flash Cannon isn't a guaranteed one-hit KO. Or rather, +2 Max Steel Spike isn't a guaranteed one-hit KO. If I run the calc, but that's into a Max Lilleep naturally. The problem is that Lilleep can run super effective moves into Spritzy, and that is no good. It is, needless to say, not the greatest. Yeah, a max Starfall versus a max HP Lilleep is doing enough damage to KO if it doesn't max 15 out of 16 times, but it is not doing enough otherwise. Psychic, I needed a second move. Naturally, I don't want to just run Protect with Mono Moonblast because my opponent has 3 fire types, yada yada yada. I don't want to run only... I don't want to lose to all of the fire types. So Psychic is the move of choice here. I can Nasty Plot up, set up Psychic Terrain even if I want. That is going to also help actually against the Mach Punches. So, I mean, yeah, that's not bad. Then we have Sobble. Sobble is going to be running the Scarf Soak set this week. It's always a favorite set of mine to run Scarf Soak Sobble, because Sobble is very good. We're running Ice Shard Surf Tearful Look. You look at this set and you're like, what in the world? Who built this Sobble? Is this really Orucs? I can assure you, I actually built this Sobble. This is me. I am this crazy. I am planning to soak all of my opponent's mons. I do have Ice Shard for a weakness policy on Bulbasaur. Surf is there to actually deal damage if Lilleep isn't there for whatever reason. I don't know why. Tearful Look. Scarf Tearful Look is good. Like, legitimately not a bad idea, in my opinion, to just go for a Scarf Tearful Look. Moving on, Bulbasaur is holding the weakness policy. It's Chlorophyll. It's not very easy to get a weakness policy proc, but I think I'll be able to do it with my opponent's 3 fire types. It's why I'm running Protect on Bulbasaur. They're going to want to go for fire type moves. They're going to want to go for max flares into my Bulbasaur, and I'm just going to say no, I protect against that move. And then they're going to activate my weakness policy through my protect and do 45% damage, and then I still die the next turn because they're still faster because they have Mach Punch and they have Icy Wind, oh god. Anyways, if you look at the speed stats again, you see 93. 93, what in the world is 93 times 2? It's 186. 186 is greater than what very big important number that I mentioned? Ding, ding, ding. 184. It's the smallest stat that you can get above that, so we're running 220 Modest this week. And if we are going to want to Scarf Soak with our Sobble, what is the reason for that? So we can go for Energy Ball into Energy Ball into Energy Ball. We have a 186, so we need a 187. What is 187 divided by 1.5? That is right, just under 125. And that is the stat we are running on Sobble. 188 Timid. We've put enough into HP to live 3 Nightshades. And we've put the rest in special attack so I can surf. And that is the team this week. Bulbasaur is running Weather Ball, Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is to raise the special attack a third time. Weather Ball is to hit anything that dares to not submit to the water typing. But mostly for the stupid thing that I hate so much. Sludge Bomb is also for that, by the way, the Lilip. I hate them so much. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you, Lilip. Why do you torment me? Anyways, if you enjoyed this team builder, definitely I have like every other weeks, and I'm going to have team builders for the playoffs as well. I should get a bye week 1 because I am the top uh, seed because I am undefeated. It's literally impossible to have a higher seed than an undefeated player when it's round robin. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy all of the girls in the battle video when it goes up. Until then, I'm Orucs-Oraihc of the Wodonga Walnuts, and I will see you in the battle video. Bye!